Everyone wants to know what is happening with the Pussycat Dolls because there have been rumors that you guys have split up.
Yeah, a couple of girls have left the group.
Okay, why?
Because they wanted to go and do their own projects and stuff.
They come to you and they say, we want to go do our own thing, which affects your brand.
No.
So you were just cool with it?
But people don't even know the story. They have no idea. I was the one singing.
Hi, I'm Jake.
And I'm Shelby. Welcome to Deep Dive, where we dive into told and untold stories. If you've heard about it, it's probably in a deep dive.
Now, today we're diving into one of the most mysterious, secretive, and successful girl groups of all time, the Pussycat Dolls. First, we'll start by unlocking the secrets of the Pussycat Dolls' beginnings, and just how Robin Antin created the now infamous Burlesque group.
Then, we're going to get into just how a major record label transformed the Pussycat Dolls from an underground dance troupe into one of the most impactful and influential groups of the early 2000s.
But as the dolls rose to fame, tensions would rise with them. They would not only be overworked and underpaid, but even overshadowed by the lead singer, Nicole Scherzinger.
Lastly, we're going to get into just how the Pussycat Dolls split up in 2010, only to get back together a decade later for a world tour that would never end up happening.
All because of a highly public and tumultuous legal battle between the lead singer of the Pussycat Dolls and the group's creator, Robin Antin. Now, speaking of the Pussycat Dolls almost reuniting for a world tour, today's episode of Deep Dive is sponsored by SeatGeek. Now, if you haven't ever heard of SeatGeek, they are the #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads. SeatGeek has more than 70,000 events every single day, including concerts, sport festivals, and more. And y'all, this year Beyonce is taking her Renaissance tour on the road, and I actually got the privilege of seeing the Formation tour a couple years ago, so I am for certain going to see this one, and I'm definitely going on SeatGeek to get my tickets. Because SeatGeek puts all the tickets across the web in one place to make sure you are getting a good deal. Now, each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good and red dots are bad. Plus, each ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. Right now is such an exciting time for concerts, with Taylor Swift touring her Eras tour and Beyonce taking over with her Formation tour. You are not going to want to miss out. So we came through for you guys. Use our code DEEPDIVE for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code DEEPDIVE. Make sure you click the link in the description box to download the app. Thank you so much to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into the history of just how the Pussycat Dolls came to be.
The Pussycat Dolls franchise actually started almost 30 years ago with one woman named Robin Antin. So let's bring it back to the early 90s. Robin Antin, a professional dancer and choreographer, is taking a dance class where she meets Christina Applegate, who many don't know is also a professional dancer. They become best friends, then eventual roommates when Robin moved into Christina's house. Robin would spend her nights putting together these amazing dance numbers in Christina's garage turned dance studio. Christina Applegate knew these choreographed dances could become an incredible show. So she used her connections in the acting world to get Robin an audition at Johnny Depp's Viper Room. The Viper Room is a nightclub and live music venue frequented by many Hollywood elites, located right on the Sunset Strip in West Hollywood. Robin had envisioned a more burlesque-styled theatrical dance troupe that would provide a show giving the audience all the sensual thrill of a strip club, but without the nudity. With the audition approaching, Robin got to work preparing her group of dancers and would even sew every single costume that they would wear. The troupe went on to audition in front of Johnny Depp himself, and Johnny loved the performance so much that he wanted the dance group to become a Viper Room staple, a burlesque show that could be enjoyed every single Thursday night, and that show would be called the Pussycat Dolls.
Hi, we're the Pussycat Dolls.
Gentlemen, hold on to your hats. Ladies, hold on to your gentlemen. It's time for the Pussycat Dolls.
1930s burlesque gets a 1990s treatment from the Pussycat Dolls and a bit of star treatment from special guest Christina Applegate. What lonely eyes.
Oh, it's a blast. It's a blast. I mean, these girls are so wonderful, and it's such a privilege to be a part of this.
The Pussycat Dolls were created a year ago as an opening act for Johnny Depp's Viper Room. Now, Depp has been dancing every Thursday night.
The idea of sort of a burlesque kind of show where we strip down and give the idea of stripping, yet we really don't strip and down to nothing. And they're so beautiful and they're so talented, and it's something that this town has needed, was class. And that's what this group is. It's class. It's nice to be a part of it.
The Pussycat Dolls burlesque show grew from a set of sexy dancer teens into a full-blown production, and it quickly became a must-see act on the Sunset Strip. Now, one Thursday night, Carmit Bakar, one of the dancers, brought along one of her friends, who just so happened to be Gwen Stefani. Gwen Stefani was in the audience watching in awe as the dolls twirled on stage in black lingerie for a roaring audience. Robin Antin knew this was her chance to grow the show even more, so she approached Gwen and asked her if she wanted to perform as a guest Pussycat Doll.
Does it look weird? No, it's so hot. It's great. You look at how cute. Look at G. That's so great. Oh, God. Tonight is a really, really special night with Gwen. I mean, everyone is. Thanks, guys. It really is. It's so exciting, and also because she, I mean, just the way that she performs and the way that she sings the songs, and just, it's so awesome. I'm just so good, you know. You are. She's the hottie. She brings it to life. Do it.
Having a guest performer like Gwen Stefani on the Viper Room stage caused the already popular show to grab the attention of some of the most famous celebrities of the late 90s and very early 2000s. Stars such as Carmen Electra, Paris Hilton, Kelly Osbourne, Brittany Murphy, Pamela Anderson, Britney Spears, Kim Kardashian, and Christina Aguilera would all make appearances in the show as guest Pussycat Dolls.
The first time I saw them actually was Gwen Stefani had done it at the Viper Room. Hey, big spender! It just looked like fun to get up there and do songs that weren't your own. I just got done doing Moulin Rouge too. Robin Antin was the choreographer of the Pussycat Dolls and originator. It was all her ideas. She makes the ideas for the costumes. Really talented girl. She's great. I was a guest performer on the show.
The Pussycat Dolls began to grow beyond the Viper Room stage as they would begin to make cameos in television specials, advertisements, and even made a film debut in Charlie Angel's Full Throttle. For 7 years, the Pussycat Dolls put on an impeccable show every single week, but it was time for the next big step. Robin needed to figure out how she could turn her insanely popular burlesque show into an entire franchise and money-making machine. Gwen Stefani got in touch with Jimmy Iovine, the founder of Interscope, which is a major record label, and told him he has to come down to the Viper Room to check out the dolls. Jimmy absolutely loved the group, but he's in the business of music, and the dolls at the time were primarily dancers. However, Jimmy had an idea that would convert the Pussycat Dolls name from a burlesque residency to a hit recording act that would strike gold in the Billboard charts. Now, mind you, this is back in 2002. At the time, record labels were beginning to really struggle, especially as file sharing services such as LimeWire and Napster were allowing people to consume music more freely. The main revenue source for record labels were album sales, as they didn't take a cut from artists' merchandising, brand deals, or touring. But that was all about to change when Jimmy Iovine and Robin Antin came together to create the first 360 deal in the industry.
Pussycat Dolls was the first 360 deal ever done in the music industry, which is now standard.
What's that mean?
That means that the label and the brand Pussycat Dolls were in a partnership together, and they basically would do all the deals. I was a cast member in the Pussycat Dolls. Yeah. So yeah, I would do what I was told, sign up and get my leg up and throw down as a doll. So as far as like us being in the driving seat of what gigs we were doing and how much we were making, I definitely wasn't in those conversations.
Together, they created Pussycat Dolls Incorporated, where Robin Antin would own 50% of the company and Interscope would own the other 50%. Now again, this deal was just so different from industry standard. First of all, the owner of the corporation was not the artist or performers. You know how like Miley Cyrus owns Smiley Miley Incorporated. In this case, it's basically the manager, Robin, and record label, Interscope, who have complete ownership and benefit the most monetarily. Second of all, Interscope, the record company, was profiting 50% not just off of music sales, but brand deals, clothing lines, touring, private performances, and the list just goes on and on. However, Pussycat Dolls, the brand, could make money. Interscope and Robin were profiting. This kind of deal with a record label means the actual artists and performers, you know, the very people the entire brand is tailored around, those people, they get paid substantially less as they are essentially just salaried employees, or in this case, cast members, hired on by the company, Pussycat Dolls Incorporated. Before going on the search for new talent, Interscope and Robin did sign a few dolls from the original burlesque troupe. Carmit Bakar, professional dancer and rhythmic gymnast, had been a part of the Pussycat Dolls since their start at the Viper Room in 1995, and she would be the very first doll signed into the recording group. Jessica Setta, an actress, professional cheerleader, and dancer, would also be brought into the musical group. Ashley Roberts, a dancer who had also been featured in quite a few music videos for artists such as Aaron Carter and Pink, would also join the dolls. The next doll signed, Kimberly Wyatt, met Robin Antin on the set of Nick Lachey's music video for the song Shut Up, and it was then when Robin asked Kimberly if she would join the Pussycat Dolls as a dancer. Now that Pussycat Dolls Inc. already had 4 dolls signed on, Jimmy Iovine and Robin would go on the hunt for their new cast members, you know, the pop stars that would take the Pussycat Dolls to the next level. Jimmy had envisioned the girl group to be a cross between Moulin Rouge and the Spice Girls. So they placed an ad for auditions that aired just once on MTV to find talented women who fit that mold. 500 aspiring performers would show up to audition. Amongst them was Melody Thornton, an incredible vocalist who had just graduated from high school when she saw the Pussycat Dolls ad flash across her TV screen. Melody was brought into the group to be one of the main vocalists, as the label loved how her voice had this Christina Aguilera-esque vibe, which was perfect for that burlesque meets pop star fusion that they were going for. Melody was also the only Pussycat doll to join the group with no dancing experience, which is important to note for later in the story. Kaya Jones auditioned for the Pussycat Dolls when she was 19 years old. She was brought in as a vocalist and dancer. However, she would wind up leaving the group while the first album was being recorded, but more on that later. Now the group just needed one last member, the doll that would become the front woman. Nicole Scherzinger was first discovered in 2000 on a singing competition show that aired on the WB called Pop Stars.
I was meant to perform in front of people. I love to sing, act, and dance, and it's just my life. It's been my whole life since I've been young. I've always wanted to be Whitney Houston. So. And will always love you. Thank you.
The show landed her a spot in a girl group called Eden's Crush. Nicole released an album with Eden's Crush in 2001 titled Pop Stars, which actually performed pretty well, but Nicole was still looking to jump ship to a new group. This is when Jimmy Iovine tried to get Nicole to join the Black Eyed Peas, as they were looking for a new female vocalist, which this was pre-Fergie, but Nicole's boyfriend at the time didn't want her to join the Peas, so she would wind up auditioning for the Pussycat Dolls instead. Nicole already had a leg up because she had connections to Jimmy Iovine and Interscope. But despite that, she did end up blowing the minds of label executives and Robin Antin, so much so that they would end up completely building the Pussycat Dolls around Nicole, making her the face of the group. With 7 dolls strong, the Pussycat Dolls were born, and they would immediately get to work recording music.
Hi, I'm Melody. I'm Kimberly. I'm Nicole.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jessica.
And we're the Pussycat Dolls!
Jimmy Iovine would enlist the help of A&R exec Ron Fair to produce the Pussycat Dolls and turn them into a bona fide supergroup. Ron was perfect for the job, as he had produced many huge hits for stars such as the Black Eyed Peas, which we already have a full video on, Mary J. Blige, Pink, and Christina Aguilera, just to name a few.
I'm sitting there doing like literally like vocal retakes, and the phone rings. And it's the receptionist at the front of the studio saying, Ron, there's a phone call for you. Jimmy Iovine's calling for you. I don't really know Jimmy Iovine. Like, why would he be calling for me? He's like, Christina, give me a second. I got to take this call. And I start off by saying, look, I'm right in the middle of cutting ooze on Oh Holy Night. I was like, hey, Ron, it's Jimmy Iovine. Really? He goes, yeah, look, you got a minute? I got Rolling Stone right here. It says in the magazine, you forced Christina Aguilera to sing Genie in a Bottle. Is that true? I didn't know what to say. I thought it was, I just didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to answer that question. So I was like, and he goes, well, if you could force her to sing a #1 record like Genie in a Bottle, can you come and work for me and force all my artists to sing #1s? And I said stuff to him like, well, you know, Jimmy, I'm a producer, and because I was at RCA. And so for 10 years, Jimmy and I ruled the roost, starting with Lady Marmalade, moving to the Black Eyed Peas, the Pussycat Dolls, Vanessa Carlton, Mary J. Blige, Keisha Cole.
In 2004, the Pussycat Dolls started off by recording songs for movies such as Shark Tale and Shall We Dance. But the PCD project really began to transform into something truly special and unique when chairman of Universal Music Group Doug Morris suggested that the Dolls record a song called Don't Ya, which was written by Busta Rhymes and CeeLo Green. Now, Don't Ya was an already moderately successful song, already released by artist Tori Alamaz.
Don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me? Don't ya? That's how the song goes. That's just a little hook, a little small piece of the song.
Who wound up signing over the rights to the song in order to be released from her record contract with Universal.
Don't ya? I'll tell you about it, because I'm gonna give my homegirl some credit. I originally wrote that song for an artist that was up under me at the time. Her name was Tori Alamaze. I guess I gotta say, in all honesty, she wasn't necessarily the Don't Ya girl. You know, Tori's just not like that. She's just a cool, kind of easy kind of going girl. When Don't Ya was kind of like going around, it became this renegade record without a face to it. Like everybody was like, they were saying, who is the Don't Ya girl? Nobody knew I had anything to do with it. So we got her signed. It didn't go through. The deal didn't go through all the way. And so they were like, yo, we love the record. We love you, CeeLo. We want to stay in business with you. We want this record. Like, yo, I got this idea. Then he sent me a picture of the Pussycat Dolls, and I was like, yeah. So I had to really explain to her like why I had to do it, and like, we're still friends, I think so.
The only difference between Tori's version of the song and the Pussycat Dolls is Busta Rhymes was featured on the Pussycat Dolls version. Now, fast forward to early 2005, and Don't Ya was released as the Pussycat Dolls' debut single. Almost immediately, Don't Ya was booming from every radio in sight and became a worldwide smash hit, topping the charts virtually everywhere. Now, what makes the single choice so bizarre is that neither Nicole or Melody actually liked the song. The lyrics basically saying they are hotter and can steal a man wasn't really their cup of tea, according to Melody.
How was the response when Don't Ya came out?
It's funny, both myself and Nicole didn't like the song.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like, God, I hate this song.
Anyways, Don't Ya was the debut single to an album that didn't yet exist. According to an interview with Ron Fair, at the time of the single's release, they hadn't even started recording. Needing to capitalize off of the success of Don't Ya, Ron said they had to scramble and get information. In a shocking 30 days, they recorded the entire album for the Pussycat Dolls. Now, it was around this time that Kaya Jones would be the first doll to leave the group. At the time, she chalked it up to not everyone being on the same page, and that it was no longer fun. But there was a much more sinister side to the story that would come out over a decade later.
In one or two cases where I pushed the button on which song, and that would definitely be in the Pussycat Dolls. Because after Don't Ya was gigantic #1, I felt like there's no possible way we're going to have another dance record that's going to be as big. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen.
Just a monster.
Yeah, just a monster. So I thought if we switch it up and come with the sing-song, mom-friendly, hallmarky, greeting card kind of a song, that it wouldn't ever be judged in the same light as the dance record, and that if we could have that come as a second single and it's a hit, that it would break the group. And I was right, and the song was Stick With You.
Now, the Pussycat Dolls' debut album, titled PCD, was released in September of 2005, producing massive hit after massive hit, such as Stick With You, Bleep featuring will.i.am, and Buttons featuring Snoop Dogg. Their debut album truly had a grip on the year 2005, and it seems like everyone and their grandma was singing Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me. PCD, the album, debuted and peaked at number 5 on the Billboard Hot 200, and has sold nearly 3 million copies. Dolls, making it an international commercial success. Now, the Dolls were put on an extensive PR tour to promote their album, which included touring the world, opening for the Black Eyed Peas and Christina Aguilera, but they outgrew being an opening act very quickly, and it wasn't long before they were headlining their very own world tour, with stars such as Rihanna opening for them. The Dolls may have had the industry backing them. However, it was clear the general public was accepting every single PCD was throwing at them, making the Pussycat Dolls a cultural phenomenon, and every song they released a smash hit.
Ashley, Melody, Kimberly, and Jessica, better known as the
They are 6 drop-dead, beautiful, and super talented ladies who can virtually do it all.
Music's sexiest sextet. Who are they, folks? Our hottest 5 women in music.
It is time for doll domination.
Give it up for the Pussycat Dolls.
Was my pussy time of devastating. He thought that I'm selling nookie, but I'm a set of chick and shake my do my thing. In the line for the teller in the bank. Wait 1 second, pussy rub the bangs too. Fucking pussy going out of control.
The Pussycat Dolls had really cemented their name as one of the most successful girl groups of the early 2000s. However, people did start to notice a massive difference between PCD and other popular bands. See, in most pop groups, even though there always tends to be a favorite or front runner of the group, usually each member has a chance to shine and showcase their vocal abilities. But in the Pussycat Dolls, Nicole was really the only one singing, with some backing vocals from the other girls. Essentially, it looked as if Kimberly, Ashley, Carmet, Jessica, and Melody were just the backup dancers for Nicole.
Yeah, it works what they're doing at the moment, and the idea to have her as the front girl and then the girls behind. It works. It does work, and I do think they've had a good album, but they have killed it a bit.
I don't know about
I
that.
think
You
that's
never
just
get
the
the chance
way.
to hear
Yeah.
anybody else, so you just assume she is. Apart from that girl that really annoys me that goes, yeah, all the time. You never really hear anybody else.
And they
So
wanted to launch her as a solo artist in the beginning, didn't they? And that was basically why they brought the dancers in, to make
The
it a
thing
group,
is,
and
when
it
you've
has
got-
worked better that way.
And when you've got dancers like that, the performance is just like, wow, it's like breathtaking.
Yeah.
I would actually like to hear them all sing.
Now, the entire group being wrapped around Nicole was really starting to cause some tension behind the scenes. Each member of the Pussycat Dolls had so much talent, but they just weren't given the chance to show the world what they were capable of. You can see the tension and frustration with the group's dynamic come out on stage at times, like when the Pussycat Dolls performed live at the American Music Awards in 2006. It was obvious they were all competing with each other vocally as they were wailing and yelling over one another in a very, very chaotic and now infamous performance.
Sing, I like to sing when I bring a beat and the harmony everything brings. I like to sing, whoa, yeah, yeah.
So I think when you're on stage, if you allow everybody to really shine, I think that gains a bigger audience, and it relates to so many more people. And I know within that group there was so much talent that we'd only just sort of scratched the surface.
Melody, for example, was brought into the group solely for her vocal abilities.
I was the only teenager in the group. I had no experience in the industry at all. It was a really, really, really difficult process for me because I got into the group to sing. If I didn't do it, I was going home.
I've seen the film clips.
Yeah.
You are not a bad dancer.
I was able to pull it off, and that's it.
She was supposed to be a lead singer, but Robin Anton and the record label never showcased her singing, which was the entire reason she was initially a part of the group. Now, Robin Anton did coach and train Melody in regards to dancing, but she didn't have the same experiences as the other dolls who had been dancing since they were toddlers. So she would wind up struggling with some of the choreo, and because of that, the public would make fun of Melody for being the quote, worst dancer of of the group. She was really just set up to fail in the group because her strengths weren't being utilized, and according to Melody, this caused her to have a major identity crisis.
Within the Pussycat Dolls, everyone says, oh my God, you're a pro dancer, it's gonna be so easy for you. When actually, I'm primarily a singer. I'd never taken a dance class a day in my life.
Okay.
So, for some reason, throughout my entire career, I got into the dolls when I was 19. Throughout my career, it's just been like stuff thrown at me, like, here, figure this out, figure that out. Dancing with these women who had been dancing since they were 3 years old. And it's like, you're opening for the Black Eyed Peas. You're gonna do a 30-minute set. Figure it out or you're out of the group.
According to a few of the PCD members, aside from the obvious overemphasis on Nicole as the lead singer, she allegedly also received special treatment and was overall treated better compared to the other dolls. Nicole had a manager going into the Pussycat Dolls who would eventually become the entire group's manager. So she really had someone looking out for her and her best interests at all times. It also appeared based on various interviews with the dolls that Nicole was kind of on her own island, and the other dolls basically didn't form a really strong connection or friendship with her.
I mean, I did, but it was with the dolls, and it was.
But that was a group. That was a group thing.
Yeah, it wasn't.
You
Nobody's ever known me. It's just Ashley.
You was in a group. Yeah.
Yeah, and even in the group, I wasn't allowed to talk.
That's
really.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we were told to be quiet. Only Nicole could talk. Only Nicole was allowed to talk. She's supposed to. We would pitch in every now and then. Why did they say that then? Did that not drive you nuts? Are you serious? Why do you think the band broke up? You too, they're still around, they're still together, they split everything down the middle, they're all equal, you know what I mean? It's like...
Wasn't that the case with you guys?
No.
You never kind of knew where she stood when it came to Nick. Like, I think I often would say, Nick, the only thing I really wish from you is for you to really want to be here. Because I know I love being here, but I don't think any of us really felt that love and want back. Quite often. You do feel somewhat discarded. Yeah, there was never an intention to create a relationship that felt like a proper, I don't know, girl band, but we were never really built as a girl band. Really, it was a joint business venture that we were cast members of. So who do you hold that against? The lead singer? I don't know. The record label? I don't know. Like, head of the dolls? I don't know.
Despite things being a little turbulent behind the scenes, Robin Antin was still set on turning her Pussycat Doll dream into an entire empire, and she went full steam ahead, launching PCD Makeup, a lingerie line, a gaming pit at the Caesars Palace in Las Vegas called the Pussycat Doll Lounge. She wanted to open an entire Pussycat Dolls casino, and in 2007, the reality show Pussycat Dolls Present, The Search for the Next Doll, aired on TV.
Everything that we've done in this past 8 weeks, it's about finding your inner doll, and I truly believe that you have. What I'm looking for, and what I always look for in a Pussycat Doll, is overall a true performer who can bring stardom to that stage. Congratulations. Asia. You are the next Pussycat Doll.
Basically, whoever won the show would join the Pussycat Dolls as the 7th member. Asia Natalano was the winner, but after she performed alongside the Pussycat Dolls just a few times, Asia opted not to join the group as the 7th member, in pursuit of her solo career. So the original 6 dolls started on their next album titled Doll Domination in February of 2008. However, in March of 2008, Karmit Bashar, the longest performing Pussycat Doll, announced that she was leaving the group, stating, "I wanted to be the first to tell you, I am no longer with the Pussycat Dolls, but we will always be sisters forever." Karmit left to produce the Zodiac show, which was like the rock and roll version of Cirque du Soleil.
So how do you love being a Pussycat Doll?
I'm a former Pussycat Doll, actually. Yeah, I just left the group 2 months ago, and I'm ecstatic. But those girls are my sisters forever.
Yeah.
I'll always be a Pussycat Doll. But I got some new exciting projects I'm working on. So watch out for my solo album, a show.
Yeah.
And for a show that I co-create called the Zodiac Show.
The 5 dolls went on to release Doll Domination in September of 2008, debuting as number 4 on the Billboard Hot 200. The album did not live up to its predecessor, but it did produce one of the Pussycat Dolls' biggest and most memorable songs of all time. When I Grow Up, the Dolls would perform this song at every award show, and it seemed as though there was once again another Pussycat Doll invasion. And the album did have a few successful singles such as Hush 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 Hush, What You Think About That, and Jai Ho. It had my personal second favorite song of all time, Bottle Pop, and there was even a song called Out of This Club featuring R. Kelly. However, the song has since been pulled from the album and streaming services after the airing of Surviving R. Kelly. Overall, even with the success of When I Grow Up, Doll Domination was not considered a commercial success due to poor album sales. However, the Dolls would embark on the Doll Domination World Tour to promote the album. Neo and Lady Gaga were announced as the main opening acts for the tour. Now, the Doll Domination World Tour was the beginning of the end for the Pussycat Dolls. They had been working non-stop for 6 years. It was tour after tour, leaving almost no room for sleeping. Most of the dolls have since come out and said they sacrificed so much to be a doll. But between the sheer amount of work and stress, they were totally burnt out, and in some cases, sick.
No, we actually weren't always close because we were together and we were, they didn't even put sleep in our schedules. So we were like a family. We got on each other's nerves.
There weren't hotel rooms all the time. You were sleeping on a bus. Sometimes you were sleeping in a van. Sometimes you were sleeping, not sleeping, sleeping walking.
We had then sort of given up our lives for the Pussycat Dolls. Yeah, so I broke. What is the purpose of all of this? Why am I sustaining this amount of stress and anxiety, and what would life look like without it?
Now, on top of being overworked, the record label made it even more obvious that Melody, Jessica, Kimberly, and Ashley were just considered cast members of the group. See, the song Jai Ho was listed as Pussycat Dolls featuring Nicole Scherzinger. This really upset Melody, and in 2009, when the Pussycat Dolls were on stage opening for Britney Spears' Circus tour, Melody said, By 2010, Kimberly and Ashley were seemingly fed up and ready to focus on their own solo careers. And now, with half of the Pussycat Dolls gone, the entire group decided to disband and focus on their own careers.
So I fractured my 11th rib and they had to send me home. It was really tough for me.
All right, so once your rib healed though, were you able to rejoin the group? What happened?
You know what? When I broke my rib, it really made me take a closer look at what I wanted in my life, and it wasn't to be a part of the Pussycat Dolls anymore. It was to step out on my own and not be in the shadow of Nicole anymore.
Because there have been rumors that they have, you guys have split up.
Yeah, a couple of girls have left the group.
Okay, why?
Because they wanted to go and do their own projects and stuff. Their own solo.
And why did you let them do that?
I mean, I don't control them.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. Be quiet. It's up to them what they want to do, and I just think whatever's going to make them happy, and that's their choice.
But they come to you and they say, we want to go do our own thing, which affects your brand.
No,
so you were just cool with it?
Look, we've been at it for a strong 6 years, and I mean, when
are you tired of it?
Girls are together. It's not easy. I love it. I'm grateful for it, but I think that it's just time for people to kind of maybe do their own thing, and that's what the other girls are wanting to do. I'm like the only withstanding member so far.
Which one are you closest to?
I don't want to say that because one of the ones that I was close to, she kind of did something that disappointed me, so.
Despite every single Pussycat Doll leaving the group, Robin Antin still wanted to continue on with her Pussycat Doll empire. Robin was upset that the dolls wanted to go solo and focus on their own careers for once.
But I want to be a solo.
Yeah.
The whole solo thing, like seriously, I'm like, if I hear one more girl saying they want to like break out as a solo artist, it is so incredibly annoying.
Yeah.
Because nobody makes it.
Now, Robin fully intended to reinvent the group with Nicole Scherzinger by her side. In a 2010 interview, Robin stated that the Pussycat Dolls would live on with Nicole as the face of the group. and they would just simply replace the dolls that left. Now, this never ended up happening, simply because the dolls were irreplaceable, even though they were always made to feel replaceable during their years with the dolls.
The creator of the Pussycat Dolls, and everyone's saying, hey, when are they going to come out with another album? And they are, right?
And yes, we're going to be doing another album. You know, some of our fans get a little upset when I say this, but there's been a lot of incarnations of the Pussycat Dolls. Most of the girls wanted to go off and do their own thing, and I totally supported that. I was like, you know what, I get it. You want to do that, but you know, this is my brand, this is my baby, and I got to continue it. And Nicole's, you know, she's really my partner on everything. So
Nicole will be there. Will be new girls.
I'm bringing in new girls, and I'm really, you know, I'm really excited.
Now, also in 2010, a movie did come out that was based on the Pussycat Doll dance troupe. And that movie was Burlesque, starring Christina Aguilera and Cher. Robin Anton's brother, Steve Anton, actually wrote and directed the entire movie. Anyways, Nicole would end up going on Dancing with the Stars in 2010, and would actually end up winning the entire season. And by 2011, Nicole released her debut album, Killer Love. Now, back in 2007, when PCD was going strong, Nicole scored her own solo deal with Interscope. And she even tried releasing an album titled Her Name is Nicole, but the singles that did release didn't chart, so the project was shelved.
I put so much into this album, and it's different because I'm not behind a name anymore. It's my name. It's me, Nicole. It was so hard. What people didn't realize is the past 2 years I've been working on the album, and the past 2 years is we've been working on launching the Pussycat Dolls. So I was doing the two simultaneously, so I did not sleep.
Melody, Ashley, Jessica, and Carmit would also all go on to release their own music. Now that all the dolls had branched out and started growing their own careers, they started to really open up about the quote intolerable business practices of Pussycat Dolls Incorporated. Remember how earlier in the video we discussed how all the group members, including Nicole, were all just salaried employees or cast members of Pussycat Dolls Inc., and how that would mean that they would be paid substantially less than other artists and performers? Well, quite a few of the dolls actually started to express publicly that they were in fact not paid very well, despite the Pussycat Dolls being a very lucrative franchise, selling 15 million albums and 40 million singles worldwide. Plus, if you also take into account the various world tours, private performances, merchandising, and brand deals that the dolls were all a part of. Before the dolls released their first album, according to Kaya Jones, that member that left early on, she stated that they were initially paid $500 a week each. Now, this number obviously would have definitely gone up as the dolls became internationally successful, but it does give us an idea of a base point. We also know around that same time in 2002, Interscope had signed the Black Eyed Peas, and they paid them around $500,000 as their base point. So in comparison, the dolls even from the start were paid substantially less than other artists that were signed on around the same time.
Did you make any money out of it?
No, not a whole lot.
No,
not a whole lot.
No, I just heard, what is it, 15 million records, and then and do they? I have to ask because do they put you on a wage?
Yes.
That's what I thought. So everybody would think that you would be getting a percentage of the record sales.
For the entirety of the Dolls as a recording group, I definitely should be in a different tax bracket. Let's just be honest, you know, for everything that I've put into the group, for everything that I've contributed and helped to get it to.
Since Nicole was the lead singer, she would have been paid a little bit differently than the other dolls because of things like royalties. But even so, she was still just an employee of PCD Inc. and was also more than likely paid nowhere near the amount that she should have been. In 2012, Nicole herself opened up about being the main vocalist of the group in her VH1 Behind the Music special.
The dolls had been together for nearly 5 years. But now Nicole Scherzinger is sharing another well-kept secret. She says that on the Dolls studio albums, almost all of the tracks, including the background vocals, were all her own.
I love those girls, they're my sisters, but people don't even know the story. They have no idea. I was in center because I was singing. I was the one singing. Oh man, I hope I don't get in trouble for the stuff that I say, because I never really talked about it, but I'll never forget I finished the album, PCD. And Ron and I brought the girls into the studio, and we played it for them. And it was the first time they'd ever heard the music. Do you understand what I'm saying? We played the album for the Pussycat Dolls. It's the first time they ever heard the songs.
Melody sang a bit here and there, but the records were Nicole. You know, with the exception of an occasional ad-lib, but they were Nicole. They were created with her.
I probably did 95% of the album on my own.
Former group members agreed that Nicole carried a majority of the weight when it came to singing on the album, but this wasn't because they weren't hardworking or because they didn't want to sing. It was just simply the structure that was set in place by the business side of things. Nicole did have a lot of pressure put on her during her stint with PCD, and she did open up about how those years were a pretty dark time for her, as she was struggling with an ED. She stated, "Every time I had a second to be alone, I was doing something to myself. You get like blisters on your hands or scars on your hands, and I'd try to hide those, but I think the girls could tell."
I didn't realize that disease that she had. She kept that from us.
I just hated myself. I was in a group and I never felt so alone in my life. I never did drugs, but hurting myself was my addiction.
There was nothing left to do. Get help or die.
The music is what saved me.
I think it's safe to say that all of the members in the group really did struggle and have a dark time during their stint with the Pussycat Dolls. It was a money-making machine, and they essentially were the cash cows. Fast forward to 2017, there was rumors that the Pussycat Dolls would be reuniting, and that's when Kaya Jones would make some shocking allegations about the Pussycat Dolls on Twitter. She tweeted out, "My truth, I wasn't in a girl group. I was in a prostitution ring. We happened to sing and be famous while everyone who owned us made the money." An official Pussycat Dolls statement was put out denying these claims. In a nutshell, the statement said that the Pussycat Dolls stands for women empowerment, and that if Kaya experienced something that they were unaware of, that they fully encourage her to get help and that they would be there to support her. Robin Antin, the creator of the Pussycat Dolls, spoke to The Blast saying that the allegations are disgusting, ridiculous lies. There would end up being a lawsuit between Robin Antin and the publishers of Daily Mail over these allegations. There's a lot to the story that we can't fully cover here, so BJ and I get into this whole ordeal on our new channel Study Break, so be sure to check that out. Anyways, fans of the Pussycat Dolls were always hopeful for a reunion, and through the years there were plenty of rumors that the group might actually get back together. Most of the former dolls said that they would absolutely reunite, the timing just had to be right. Melly said that she would also return, but there needed to be more equality and respect for each other as women. And in 2019, the Pussycat Dolls shocked the world when they announced that they were actually going to be reuniting.
You have a world exclusive announcement to make.
This is 2 words, major right now, okay? The stars have aligned.
2 syllables.
Have you heard? And the dolls are getting back together, and we're here to announce our reunion tour.
It's been 10 years, really, since we've been all
7 years
sitting in a room like this together. So, who kind of pushed for it? Whose idea was it?
All of ours, but Robin Antin for sure.
Yeah, Robin's been wanting this to happen for years, and and it's taken a while to get us all to this place, but we're all here now, and we're excited to be here.
Melody was the only doll that was obviously missing from this announcement.
If what they want to do is create a new narrative, if that is what they're doing, they're releasing new music, I think, I need my space and they need theirs, not in a negative way.
Have you had a chance to congratulate one another on the success of React or the dropping of Lioness Eyes?
I think we're all taking space at the moment, and it's okay.
Like you were invited to be a part of the revival, and ultimately it was your decision?
I definitely talked about it. We kicked around the idea. At the end of it, it was me, because I had people on my team saying, I'd hate for you to miss out on a cash grab or an opportunity. I'm so sorry. I don't want to live my life, on a cash grab.
Days after announcing the Pussycat Doll reunion, the dolls appeared on stage together for the first time in nearly a decade, on the finale of the UK X Factor, performing their biggest hits and their very new song titled React. Kimberly actually had to have a medic on standby during this performance because she had just had a C-section 7 weeks prior. The performance also received 419 Ofcom complaints from disgruntled parents saying the performance was, quote, disrespectful and shameful for a family show. But despite the complaints of a few people, the performance got fans very excited to purchase their tickets to the Pussycat Doll Reunion World Tour that was set to kick off in 2020. Now, 2020 rolled around, and as we all know, the world was turned upside down, to say the least. So the tour would be postponed, but it was supposed to be rescheduled when it was safe to do so. Fast forward to September of 2021, it was reported that Robin Antin was suing Nicole Scherzinger. Now, this is a doozy of a legal battle, so BJ from BJ Investigates is going to do an entire breakdown on this lawsuit, so be sure to check that video out as well. But to summarize, there was a short form agreement that was signed by the members that would be participating in the tour. Robin Antin was going to receive 12.5% of the net profits from the tour. Ashley, Kimberly, and Jessica would also each receive 12.5%. Carmit would receive 5%, and Nicole was set to receive a 32.5% share. Now, in addition to the tour profits, Nicole Scherzinger and Robin Antin were going to start a business venture called PCD Worldwide. Nicole was going to get a 49% share in that company, and Robin was going to get 51%. The new company, PCD Worldwide, was going to be the new Pussycat Dolls Incorporated. Basically, moving forward, PCD Worldwide would manage the Pussycat Dolls brand and any projects that come from it. Nicole was awarded her 49% share in exchange for her participation in the world tour. Now, fast forward to April of 2021, according to the court documents, Nicole wanted to renegotiate the contract to increase her share in PCD Worldwide to 75%, or she wouldn't participate in the tour. Robin Antin refused and described Nicole's request as extortion, saying Nicole is contractually obligated to perform. Now, according to Nicole's lawyer and her 2022 cross complaint, it turns out Live Nation gave Robin Antin $600,000 as an investment in the tour. And this was prior to Nicole's involvement. Nicole's lawyer is alleging that Robin traded Nicole's name to secure this investment, and she did so without Nicole's consent. According to the complaint, Robin then misused the investment funds. And when Nicole did agree to do the tour, she had to pay $163,000 of her own money in expenses. Quote, expenses which the money Antin took or diverted could have been used to pay, and to this day have not been reimbursed. While Robin and Nicole are going back and forth in the legal system, the other members who are also participating in this tour, they're now in this stage of limbo, not really knowing what to say when they are asked when the reunion tour is happening.
Listen, are they ever going to get back together? Can you sort that out, please?
Lorraine, honey, you tell me, because I'm wondering the same question.
Because we thought it might happen, and then, COVID happened and everything else gets put on ice.
I know.
But it would be rather lovely.
I hope so.
Give them a call. Get it sorted. Get it sorted. Get them on the show.
All of a sudden, in January of 2022, Nicole posted to Instagram that the tour had been canceled due to the ever-evolving circumstances surrounding the pandemic. But the crazy thing about this post is that none of the other dolls had any idea that the tour was canceled. They found out with the rest of the world on Instagram. So of course they were upset. For them, it felt like a slap in the face to find out the way that they did. Carmit and Jessica released a joint statement. They stated that they were disappointed as they were never officially informed of the tour cancellation, that they love their fans, and this was just not the outcome they were hoping for.
There has been anger between somebody wanting more than somebody else, and you're there the whole time. It's like I feel like I'm in a divorce of sitting as a child, just looking at these two people fighting. They both have nice big percentages of the brand. I felt like we did a lot of negotiations, and I definitely sort of had to bite my tongue as I signed that page, because for me it was more about the belief in what we were going to build together and this hope to really celebrate everybody in the group, and then to see that sort of taken away.
With a legal battle between Nicole and Robin that is still ongoing and honestly could continue to go on for years, it does appear that this is the official end of the Pussycat Dolls, which is really sad for not just the fans that purchased tickets and were so excited to see this tour, but the other members of the group who were genuinely so excited to perform for the world again.
So after failed attempt after failed attempt, it would appear that Robin Antin had finally given up on her dream of the Pussycat Dolls. What started as a burlesque group in the 90s completely transformed into something Kimberly, Ashley, Melody, Jessica, Carmit, Nicole, and Robin could have never imagined. From their first singles to their countless spin-off groups and TV shows, Robin Antin truly created a Pussycat Dolls dynasty. A dynasty seemingly built on her main tactic: fear. The Pussycat Dolls were able to work so hard because they each felt they were replaceable, and they were constantly running on a non-stop treadmill to please Rob and Anton, generating more success for record labels and rocketing countless dolls to the top of the Billboard charts. But at what cost? Like you saw in the BJ Investigates video on Robin and Nicole's lawsuit, Nicole was truly the only ever irreplaceable doll. And like you saw in the Secret Society video on my new channel, Robin would even challenge that in 2012, when she would attempt to put an all-new group of the Pussycat Dolls together without Nicole. Yet one of those dolls' time with the group would end in tragedy. What about what we saw in Study Break about Kaya Jones recounting her own personal traumatic nightmares from the group? Rob and Anton seemingly didn't care who she needed to step on to get to the top, and that resulted in the current state of the Pussycat Dolls. The group, while extremely high energy and successful, was just not sustainable. We will never know what that final reunion tour would have entailed, but on the bright side, normally situations like this do end in complete project cancellation. So Pussycat Doll fans can always hold on to their final hurrah in the form of the music video React. And even though you aren't likely to see the Pussycat Dolls live anytime soon, the world can still see what a modern day vision of the mega 2000 supergroup would truly entail. And I guess it just goes to show, to quote the most prolific song of our generation, be careful what you wish for, 'cause you just might get it.
Ha 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 ha.